In this video, we're breaking down 30 of the creepiest things ever witnessed beyond Earth, where a perfectly spherical object flew past a SpaceX rocket minutes after liftoff, and the time Apollo astronauts cut off from Earth on the moon's far side heard strange music coming through their radios with no immediate explanation. Let's dive in. During a broadcast discussing a mysterious close encounter, footage was shown of an object captured on camera flying past a SpaceX rocket just minutes after liftoff. In 2021, a similar incident drew attention when an unidentified object was recorded traveling near the SpaceX Crew Dragon shortly after it departed Earth. The object appeared spherical and moved rapidly in a manner that some observers interpreted as controlled, prompting speculation about its nature. While experts suggested that the object was likely space debris or ice shed from the rocket during ascent, its apparent speed and trajectory fueled ongoing debate. In the absence of a detailed official explanation, the sighting was widely framed as yet another unexplained event in space, leaving open questions about whether it was a routine byproduct of launch conditions or something more advanced, observing the mission. Apollo 17 astronauts indeed discovered vivid orange soil on the moon at Shorty Crater in 1972, a finding that surprised scientists and became one of the mission's most notable discoveries. Analysis showed that this material consisted of tiny volcanic glass beads formed by ancient lunar eruptions, not oxidized soil produced in an oxygen-rich environment. Although the discovery contributed to understanding the moon's volcanic past, it does not indicate the presence of oxygen as used on Earth or suggest that the moon was biologically active. Rather, it reflects the diverse geological processes that shaped the lunar surface over billions of years. The Great Red Spot possesses an immense vertical scale, reaching an estimated depth of nearly 200 miles, a stark contrast to the most powerful storms on Earth, which extend only a few miles thick by comparison. Its sheer magnitude marks it as a true atmospheric giant. As NASA's Juno spacecraft approached the final stages of its mission preparation, an unexpected technical crisis threatened to derail the entire endeavor. A critical avionics component began malfunctioning without warning, operating normally one moment, failing the next, and then inexplicably restoring itself. Engineers were forced into a race against time, troubleshooting an issue that defied easy diagnosis, until Juno ultimately reached Jupiter in 2016. Yet arrival brought little sense of closure. Instead, the spacecraft revealed a world far more unsettling than anticipated, where distorted magnetic fields, relentless storms, and unexplained forces blurred the line between planet and mystery, transforming Jupiter into a vast cosmic enigma rather than a familiar celestial body. On January 27, 1967, during a pre-launch plugs-out test of the Apollo 1 capsule at Cape Kennedy, a flash fire broke out inside the command module, killing astronauts Gus Grissom, Ed White, and Roger Chaffee within seconds. Audio recordings captured disjointed transmissions, including an exclamation of fire, followed by silence as the fire rapidly consumed the pure oxygen-filled cabin. NASA did not widely release full cockpit audio at the time, and while fragments and analyses exist, there is no definitive public record that confirms the specific words spoken or how long transmissions continued. The accident investigation led to substantial safety redesigns in the Apollo program. During the Apollo 10 mission in May 1969, astronauts Tom Stafford, John Young, and Gene Cernan encountered an unexpected phenomenon while orbiting the moon. As the command module and lunar module flew separately on the moon's far side, the crew heard a high-pitched whistling sound over their VHF radio communications. The noise persisted for several minutes and prompted casual but curious remarks, including Young's observation that the sound even sounds outer spacey, a comment reflecting its unfamiliar quality rather than any firm conclusion about its origin. The audio was captured on mission recordings and preserved in NASA archives, though it received little public attention for decades. When transcripts and recordings became more widely accessible years later, the episode sparked renewed curiosity. Subsequent technical analysis attributed the sound to radio interference caused by overlapping VHF signals exchanged between the command and lunar modules while operating in close proximity. Though the explanation was ultimately mundane, the moment remains a rare glimpse into the uncertainty and improvisation inherent in early lunar exploration, preserved permanently in the candid voices of the astronauts themselves. Ground controllers monitoring the International Space Station detected a slight drop in air pressure, later traced to a 2 mm hole in the orbital module of the Soyuz MS-09 spacecraft docked to the station. Russian and U.S. teams worked to locate and patch the leak using tape and epoxy, and the station's pressure returned to normal. On 4 September, Roscosmos announced the hole had been created by a drill, but it was not publicly determined whether this was an accidental manufacturing error or intentionally inflicted. While some Russian officials and media discussed speculative possibilities, including that the hole could have been drilled in orbit, there is no verified formal accusation that NASA or any crew member intentionally sabotaged the spacecraft. The precise circumstances of how the hole was introduced remain unresolved. Former NASA astronaut Leroy Chiao described seeing unusual lights in formation during a 2005 ISS spacewalk while installing navigation antennas. He recounted that the lights appeared in an orientation similar to an upside-down checkmark, and his colleague did not see them because of his position. Chiao has suggested that these lights might have been reflections from bright fishing fleets far below, an explanation that he found plausible and did not interpret as evidence of extraterrestrial craft. There is no verified NASA report stating shrimp boats off Brazil were officially identified as the cause, and descriptions involving 6 lights in a perfect row or a complete lack of follow-up are not supported by confirmed sources. Astronauts aboard the International Space Station reported noticing an unusual object approaching their position, which at first appeared to be ordinary space debris, but soon proved to be something far less familiar. As it drew nearer, the object displayed a sleek metallic surface and an unconventional shape that did not correspond to any known spacecraft design, prompting heightened concern and curiosity. It appeared to hover silently at a distance, giving the impression of deliberate observation rather than random motion. Uncertain of its origin or intent, the crew refrained from attempting any form of interaction, maintaining standard protocols as the object remained within view for several minutes before abruptly disappearing into the surrounding expanse of space. For a brief period, the discovery seemed to echo the imagery of science fiction, after China's Yutu-2 rover captured an image of what appeared to be a cube-shaped object on the far side of the moon, quickly fueling widespread speculation. Some observers dubbed the object a mystery hut, while others went further, suggesting it might be evidence of an alien structure. As the rover gradually approached the site and captured clearer images, the speculation gave way to a more ordinary explanation, revealing the object to be a natural rock formation. Even so, its outline proved striking, as the shape resembled a rabbit accompanied by a smaller stone that looked like a carrot, an unexpected visual coincidence for the Jade Rabbit mission, and a reminder that lighting, distance, and perspective can make the lunar surface appear far more mysterious than it truly is. A strange video surfaced online and quickly sparked widespread confusion, as it appeared to show a UFO descending toward the moon's surface before opening what looked like a portal in the lunar ground. Moments later, the object entered the opening, which then vanished just as abruptly, leaving the surface seemingly unchanged. Such footage challenges the assumption that nothing unusual is occurring on the moon, and raises unsettling questions about what may have gone unnoticed for so long. If unknown forces or beings have managed to remain concealed while possessing the ability to create hidden portals, the possibility arises that far more lies beneath the surface. Concealed bases, underground tunnels, or phenomena far beyond current understanding could exist, suggesting that the moon may harbor secrets far greater than previously assumed. The object appeared to be merely tagging along, an unsettling detail in an already dire situation. While drifting far beyond familiar coordinates, the crew managed to maintain communication with mission control, clinging to the last thread of human contact. Then, without warning, something extraordinary occurred. 2 unidentified flying objects detected the shuttle and began a slow, deliberate approach. Rather than showing hostility, the objects lingered nearby, observing the shuttle for an extended period as though conducting a methodical scan. Eventually, the objects withdrew, vanishing into the darkness from which they had emerged. If such regions truly exist, countless other unknowns may be waiting beyond humanity's reach. This disturbing episode offers no clear answers, only deeper questions about the secrets hidden in the vastness of the universe. Do you think the unidentified objects were intentionally observing the shuttle, rather than being random space phenomena? Let's discuss in the comments section, and don't forget to explore more interesting things in the top right corner of the screen. A massive object has been described as orbiting Saturn, allegedly far too large to be dismissed as a rock or space debris, and its silent movement has fueled speculation about deliberate intent. According to these claims, the object remains concealed within Saturn's shadow, giving the impression of observation rather than random drift, while the absence of signals or official explanations from NASA has encouraged some to interpret it as something purposeful rather than accidental. The idea that such a structure could be watching and waiting has led to broader questions about whether humanity is being observed from afar, why such an entity would choose Saturn as its vantage point, and what motive might lie behind its continued silent presence in the darkness. Something unusual was discovered on the Moon, where human footprints remain clearly preserved on the lunar surface, yet alongside them appeared a peculiar trail that does not correspond to any known astronaut activity. Unlike the orderly patterns left by boots and equipment, these markings twist and curve unpredictably, as though someone or something had moved deliberately across the fine lunar dust. NASA has never provided a definitive explanation for the origin of the trail, a silence that has only fueled speculation and curiosity. As a result, some have come to believe that the Moon may harbor secrets long concealed from human understanding. After 9 months in space, the astronauts finally returned to Earth. Yet the conclusion of the mission carried an unsettling undertone. NASA astronauts Butch Wilmore and Suni Williams had been scheduled to come home months earlier, but their return was repeatedly delayed under circumstances described only as technical complications. When their SpaceX capsule splashed down in the Gulf of Mexico, the visible relief was unmistakable, though it was matched by an equally striking absence of detail. Explanations remained vague, briefings were limited, and meaningful answers never fully emerged. This silence has fueled growing suspicion that the crew may have encountered something unexpected during their time in orbit, an experience that some believe NASA prefers to keep out of public view. A South African researcher has claimed to have identified what appeared to be the remnants of a UFO crash, describing an object with an estimated diameter of between 12 and 15 meters. Photographs associated with the claim later circulated widely online, drawing attention to unusual marks on the Moon's surface that seemed consistent with a landing event, yet unlike those produced by known space rockets. While many observers interpreted the images as evidence of a UFO, the claim raised further questions, as a crash of that scale would be expected to leave visible debris or structural remains. Instead, no such wreckage was identified, giving rise to speculation that whatever may have landed there disappeared without leaving a discernible trace. Astronomers have suggested that certain spire-like formations observed on the Moon could be unusually tall natural features, a claim that has drawn renewed attention to long-standing lunar anomalies. Although reports of strange features on the Moon are not new, one particular case has remained especially compelling since 1966, when NASA's Lunar Orbiter 2 captured an image showing elongated structures casting pronounced shadows across the surface. Located in the Sea of Tranquility, these formations were estimated by some observers to reach the height of a 15-story building, and were often compared to Egyptian obelisks because of their apparent shape. As speculation grew, some suggested that NASA may have been aware of these features and selected the Apollo 11 landing site accordingly. The activation of a side radar by Buzz Aldrin during the lunar descent further fueled theories that the crew was scanning the area for potential obstacles, and for some, these details raised the possibility that the spires were not entirely natural, but instead the result of deliberate placement by an unknown source. Reports have circulated, describing an extraordinary sight witnessed during a space shuttle mission, one so immense that it was likened to a flying saucer several times larger than Earth itself. According to these accounts, astronaut Story Musgrave observed 2 enormous, self-illuminating, disc-shaped objects drifting just below Space Shuttle Columbia while it orbited roughly 190 miles above the planet. The objects were said to appear on multiple onboard cameras, seeming to expand gradually before fading into the curvature of Earth's limb. NASA attributed the visuals to optical artifacts such as lens reflections, yet this explanation was challenged by veteran engineer Mark Carlotto, whose pixel-level analysis reportedly indicated parallax motion inconsistent with simple glare or internal reflections. Musgrave, a 6-time Space Shuttle veteran with decades of experience in spaceflight, has since remarked during public lectures that such experiences have reinforced his belief that intelligent life likely exists somewhere beyond Earth. As the damaged Salyut 7 station loomed ahead, a story emerged that cast its commander in an unsettling encounter with the unknown. According to the account, Soviet cosmonaut Vladimir Dzhanibekov captured footage of a cross-shaped object, rotating end over end, just 50 meters beyond the port window as his spacecraft approached the silent outpost. At first, the object was dismissed as drifting debris or misplaced hardware, an assumption grounded in the hazards of orbital operations. That explanation faltered, however, when the object abruptly stopped its rotation, tilted at a sharp 45-degree angle, and shot behind Salyut 7 with startling speed. The moment left the crew visibly shaken, prompting hushed remarks that the object seemed almost aware, as though it had turned to observe them in return. In the aftermath, Soviet ground controllers reportedly ordered the film canister to be returned under strict security through a diplomatic channel, after which the material vanished from public record. Despite decades of speculation, no frames from the alleged footage have ever surfaced, leaving the episode suspended between rumor and unresolved mystery. In November 2021, 4 astronauts returning from the International Space Station aboard a SpaceX Crew Dragon capsule completed their roughly 20-hour journey to Earth without a functioning onboard toilet, relying instead on absorbent garments after the system became unusable. Earlier that year, the same crew was aboard the ISS when the newly arrived Russian Nauka module accidentally fired its thrusters, briefly causing the station to rotate before ground controllers regained control. Separately, in 2019, astronauts installing a new universal waste management system on the ISS encountered an unexpected plumbing issue when a water line leaked, releasing about 2.5 gallons of water into the cabin. The crew successfully collected the floating water, and the leak occurred before the toilet was operational, preventing contamination. While inconvenient, these incidents were managed safely and openly, highlighting the unique challenges of maintaining basic systems in orbit. During the Gemini 4 mission in June 1965, astronaut James McDivitt reported seeing an unidentified object out the spacecraft window while his crewmate Ed White was asleep. McDivitt described it as a white, cylindrical object with an extension, and he attempted to photograph it. Although the object was not immediately identified at the time, neither astronaut claimed it was extraterrestrial, nor did NASA label it a UFO in that sense. Later analysis and McDivitt's own reflections suggest the sighting was likely a piece of orbital debris, or a visual artifact, and the available photographs are inconclusive. Story: Musgrave, a highly experienced and widely respected retired NASA astronaut, has long expressed a firm belief in the existence of life beyond Earth, a conviction shaped by his extensive time in space. He has stated that during 2 separate missions, he observed an unusual snake-like entity measuring approximately 8 feet in length, describing it as having a rubbery appearance marked by internal wave-like motion and an ability to follow nearby spacecraft for extended periods. According to Musgrave, repeated exposure to space reveals an astonishing array of unexplained phenomena, leading him to suggest that advanced civilizations may exist far beyond human awareness, potentially having evolved over millions of years and engaged in activities that surpass conventional understanding. A commercial Antares rocket carrying the Cygnus Orb-3 cargo spacecraft experienced a catastrophic failure about 15 seconds after liftoff on October 28, 2014 from Virginia's Wallops Flight Facility. The first stage malfunctioned, the vehicle broke apart, and it was destroyed by a flight termination command shortly before impact. The explosion created a large fireball and wreckage at the launch site, but no injuries were reported. While observers described the explosion as dramatic and visible from several miles away, there is no documented evidence confirming that it was felt at a specific distance, such as 20 miles away. Something unusual drifted past the International Space Station, and it was not easily dismissed as ordinary space debris, as a live NASA feed captured dozens of glowing orbs moving in coordinated formation while passing the orbiting laboratory in complete silence. Rather than tumbling unpredictably, as debris typically does in microgravity, the objects appeared to glide with deliberate control, a quality that prompted unsettling speculation about whether their movement suggested awareness or intent. As the luminous shapes maintained their alignment and pace, questions arose about whether the sighting represented a fleet of extraterrestrial probes or a clandestine gathering unfolding far beyond Earth's reach. Despite the growing curiosity sparked by the footage, no official explanation was provided by NASA, and the live feed abruptly cut out soon afterward under unexplained circumstances. Whatever the true nature of the objects may have been, their appearance suggested that they were never meant to be observed at all. During a space mission, an astronaut encountered an extraordinary sight when a massive cigar-shaped object approximately 300 meters in length appeared nearby, emitting an unsettling greenish glow that set it apart from any known spacecraft. Initially motionless, The object seemed to linger as though observing its surroundings, prompting an attempt at communication that yielded no response of any kind. As the encounter continued, the craft began to move slowly, almost deliberately, before accelerating with astonishing speed and vanishing into the vast expanse of space within moments. The combination of its sudden propulsion, immense scale, and anomalous luminosity left experts struggling to offer explanations grounded in known science. Whatever the nature of the object may have been, its behavior appeared to defy conventional understanding entirely. The moment Neil Armstrong stepped onto the moon was carefully recorded, yet questions continue to surface about how such documentation was achieved and why skepticism endures. NASA had cameras mounted on the Apollo spacecraft, a setup intended to ensure that no part of the historic event went unrecorded, and decades later, satellite imagery has reinforced this account by revealing the Apollo landing sites with the lunar modules still positioned exactly where they were left. Despite this accumulation of evidence, doubt has proven remarkably persistent, leading some to question whether an undertaking of such magnitude could truly have been kept secret by thousands of people for more than half a century. Rather than settling the controversy, each new confirmation appears to intensify the debate, adding layers of speculation instead of closure. If the landing did occur as documented, the refusal of the controversy to fade suggests that the moon may still be perceived as holding secrets beyond those officially disclosed. A seemingly random piece of space debris recently left a permanent mark on the moon, when, on March 4, 2022, a wayward rocket stage crashed into the lunar far side and carved out a new crater. The object, estimated to weigh between 3 and 4 tons, had been drifting aimlessly through space for years before its trajectory finally intersected with the moon's surface. Although experts have not been able to determine its precise origin with certainty, the debris is believed to be a remnant from an earlier space mission, highlighting the long-lasting consequences of human activity beyond Earth. Because the impact occurred on the moon's far side, it went entirely unseen from Earth, yet lunar orbiters may eventually capture images that reveal the aftermath of the collision in detail. In March 2017, while astronauts aboard the International Space Station were conducting a routine spacewalk, NASA flight engineer Peggy Whitson recorded an unexpected sight that quickly drew attention. A mysterious object appeared in the footage, rotating slowly as it seemed to trail the astronaut's path, giving the impression of deliberate observation rather than random motion. Although some observers dismissed it as one of the countless fragments of space debris orbiting Earth, specialists pointed out a notable inconsistency with that explanation, as the object did not drift independently, but instead appeared to maintain a speed closely matching that of the ISS. The moon became the focus of intense attention after an unusual object collided with its surface, an event that immediately sparked speculation due to reports describing the object as resembling a UFO. The mystery deepened when a massive explosion followed the impact, implying that whatever struck the lunar surface was far larger and more powerful than an ordinary meteor. Unlike typical meteorite collisions which leave familiar and well-documented signatures, this impact produced an atypical mark that defied easy classification and raised questions about its true origin. As debates continue over whether the collision was caused by space debris or something far more enigmatic, the absence of clear explanations has only added to the growing sense of uncertainty surrounding the event. A mysterious video has prompted widespread uncertainty and debate by challenging commonly accepted understandings of space exploration. A clip from an unidentified source surfaced online, allegedly depicting NASA astronauts inside a concealed base on the moon, where an immense structure with walls composed of an unfamiliar material dominates the scene. Adding to the intrigue, the footage shows no visible occupants at the time of recording, creating an unsettling sense of abandonment. The claims surrounding the video become even more striking, due to assertions that it dates back to the early 1980s and was deliberately kept hidden for decades. Public reaction has been sharply divided, with some interpreting the video as evidence that governments continue to conceal profound truths, while others speculate that the moon may have once hosted alien inhabitants who vanished thousands of years ago. The moon has long been surrounded by an air of mystery, yet certain details associated with lunar exploration continue to provoke lingering doubts and unanswered questions. When Apollo astronauts planted the flag on the lunar surface, its movement appeared inconsistent with the absence of wind, a phenomenon NASA attributed to a stiff support mechanism, though alternative interpretations have persisted. Concerns have also been raised about the radiation belts encircling Earth, which were believed to pose severe risks to human life, even as the spacecraft reportedly passed through them without catastrophic consequences. Adding to the intrigue, shadows on the moon's surface have been observed to fall at unusual angles, creating the impression that more than one light source may have been involved. Even the lunar samples returned to Earth have fueled speculation, as some observers point to properties they consider atypical. Whatever the ultimate explanation may be, these unresolved elements continue to suggest that the moon holds secrets that remain beyond complete human understanding. Space is vast, hostile, and endlessly complex. Even with decades of exploration, advanced technology, and thousands of hours of recorded missions, some moments still defy easy explanation. Whether these events are the result of natural phenomena, human error, classified technology, or something far more extraordinary, they reveal one undeniable truth: the universe does not give up its secrets easily. If you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss our upcoming journeys. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.